Hello there, Lynette Yearberry here. Welcome to my discussion on the earnings per share calculation. This is one of the most widely observed ratios on Wall Street. The basic formula for earnings per share is to take net income and subtract preferred dividends from it, and then divide that by the weighted average number of shares outstanding. The resulting number is the net income attributable to each share of common stock currently outstanding. Net income's a pretty straightforward number, don't have to do too much with that. But we do need to talk about preferred dividends. Preferred dividends are the amount of net income that belongs to the preferred shareholders, and you would subtract this amount for any dividends that were declared for the year, paid for the year, or if you have cumulative preferred stock, any dividends in arrears for that year. Then you would divide that number by the weighted average number of shares of common stock outstanding. This is a more complicated number because it changes every time there's a stock issue, a stock repurchase of treasury stock, or a stock dividend or split. Let's use 4 examples to demonstrate this to you and help in your understanding. In my first example, I have a company who has $450,000 of net income for the year. They declare a stock dividend to preferred stock in the amount of $65,000. They also had 90,000 shares outstanding for the entire year. What would their earnings per share be? $450,000 of net income minus $65,000 of preferred dividends divided by 90,000 would be earnings per share of $4.28. Let's try another example. In this example, our company has $450,000 of net income, preferred dividends in the amount of $65,000 that were declared, and at the beginning of the year they have 90,000 shares outstanding. But 2 events changed this during the year. On April 30th, they sold 60,000 shares of common stock, and on October 31st, they purchased 36,000 for treasury. So what would earnings per share being given this set of facts? Well, the numerator is 450,000 minus 65, or 385,000 again. Let's build the denominator. First, we have 90,000 shares of stock outstanding for 4 months, January, February, March, and April. So I'll take 90,000 times 4/12. 90,000 plus 60,000 more issued would mean there's 150,000 currently outstanding now, and that would be for the period from April to October, or 6 months, May, June, July, August, September, October. Then on October 31st, we purchased some treasury stock in the amount of 36,000. 150,000 minus 36,000 is 114,000. And that would be outstanding for 2 months, October and November. Now we need to do some math. 90,000 times 4/12 is 30,000. 150,000 times 6/12 is 75,000. 114,000 times 2/12 is 19,000. Now add those up. 124,000 is our current weighted average common shares outstanding. Now you can calculate earnings per share. 450,000 minus 65 divided by 124,000 shares. And the result is $3.11 per share. Well, let's try a little harder one. In my next example, a company reported 450,000 of net income. They had cumulative preferred outstanding dividends in arrears. That's dividends that have not been declared or paid for the current year. And at the beginning of the year, they had 90,000 shares of common stock outstanding, and 3 events changed this. On April 30th, they sold 60,000 shares. On October 31st, they purchased 36,000 in treasury stock. And on December 1st, they issued a 2-for-1 stock split. Let's calculate this. The 90 is outstanding for 4 months. Issue 60 more, that's 150 for 6 months. back off the treasury stock, we're down to 114. But that's for 1 month now, because on December 1st, there was a stock split, a 2-for-1 stock split. All the stock is called in, and twice as many shares are issued. The first thing I'm going to do is double the number of shares outstanding, because it goes from 114 to 228 immediately. There's a 2-for-1 stock split. Now I'll do something that might surprise you. Since there is no new money coming in from a stock split, the only thing that's happening is you have twice as many shares outstanding and no new money was received that could influence net income. We take the conservative approach of showing what earnings per share would be in the smallest amount and back that up to the first day of the periods presented, in this case, our current year. I times the first 3 layers by 2 to make that reflective of twice as many shares outstanding, but I don't need to do anything to the bottom layer because it's already been doubled. Now I just need to do the math. Doubled the first 3 layers and did the last one straight up. What is that total? Our weighted average number of common shares outstanding is 248,000. So now you're ready to calculate earnings per share. 450 net income minus 65 preferred dividends divided by 248, weighted average number of common shares outstanding. Resulting numbers $1.56 earnings per share. Let's try one more tricky one. In my last example, a company has 450,000 of net income. They have non-cumulative preferred stock outstanding and dividends of 65,000 that were neither paid nor declared for the current year, but it's non-cumulative stock. At the beginning of the year, the company had 90 shares outstanding, and there were 3 events that changed it. They issued 60,000 shares in April, purchased 36,000 for the treasury on October 31st, and on December 1, did a 10% stock dividend. How might this look? So, our first 3 layers are done. Let's talk about the 4th layer. You issue a 10% stock dividend, so the 114,000 is going to grow by 10%. I'm going to times that by 1.10. The 1 is to keep the base intact, and the 0.10 is to grow it by 10%. So I have 114,000 times 1.10 equaling 125,400. Each one of those for 1 month. Now I have to make that stocks dividend retroactive because I received no new resources, and I'm going to be conservative and make it reflective as of the first period presented. I only have to times the first 3 periods by 1.10 because I grew the 114 by 1.10 already, and I'm going to use it to carry forward. Let's figure out the math now. My outstanding common shares, after you do the math, is 136,400. The resulting earnings per share, my last example, is $3.30. Hopefully this helps you master how to calculate earnings per share with different situations relating to preferred stock and different changes in outstanding common stock. This demonstrates simple capital structures and completes our coverage of the topic. Thanks for joining me.